We start with Rachaad White, Jay. He comes in for RB15 for Matthew. But we've said this before. Dave Canales off to Carolina. Rachaad White, purely a volume merchant last year at a nearly unsustainable rate.
Yeah, and specifically a PPR merchant, given that he was under 4 yards per carry. And I think he will suffer without Canales. Canales, I think, to a fault, in the same way, in a similar vein to Bobby Slowick last year, where they just seemed so intent on establishing the run for the sake of establishing the run. Maybe that had some positive ripple effects in the passing game, but for Rachaad White's purposes, if his volume decreases at all, then he's in big trouble because it doesn't seem like he has efficiency in him in this offense.
Yeah, and Canales was so dedicated to the run, to establishing it. You just don't know if they're going to continue with that kind of workload when it wasn't super efficient, right? No team had fewer rush yards in the NFL last year than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And oh, by the way, Bucky Irving is having a really nice camp as well. So if Bucky Irving takes any of the work from Rachaad White, they really didn't have anything last year, but feels like they're confident about Bucky Irving. So
he can catch the ball, right? And you need Rachaad White to catch the ball if you're drafting him. By the way, Yahoo ADP inside the top 40. It's around 38 right now. That means he needs all the volume in the pass game as well to be effective. And I think Bucky Irving might have been drafted to take over that role, especially with maybe being a little bit more explosive.
When you look at some of the guys that are going behind Rachaad White, it's not that I think he's bad. He's going too high for me. I'm worried that there's going to be some regression.
I'd much rather have James Conner just straight up, and he's going after him.
Yes. Our next guy, Rhamondre Stevenson, he comes in outside your top 20 running backs, Matthew, RB22, for an offense that it's going to be a struggle for New England right now as they kind of turn the page.
So career lows last year in yards per carry, yards per target, catch rate in 2023. Again, sort of the same thing with Rachaad White, right? If Rhamondre Stevenson isn't catching passes, that's a big hit to his fantasy value. And what do the Patriots do in this offseason? They signed Antonio Gibson, who's a pretty good pass-catching running back as well. So this is, each of the past 3 seasons, Antonio Gibson had a double-digit target share. So if Rhamondre Stevenson even gets, call it 3 less targets a game, that's significant to his fantasy value, because remember, 45% of Stevenson's fantasy value over the last 2 seasons, his fantasy points, 45% of his fantasy points have come as receivers. So the fact that it's not a good offense and the presence of Gibson makes me nervous.
DeAndre Swift next up on the hate list, 84th overall for you, Matthew, RB24. Yahoo ADP inside the top 75, Jay. A little bit of a confusing backfield. The Bears gave him big money, but can you count on Swift?
I don't think so. One of my favorite season-long bets on DraftKings is DeAndre Swift under 750.5 rushing yards. He's only top 617 once in his career, and that's largely because he's been hurt, but he always gets hurt, basically, outside of last season. I just think between Khalil Herbert, Roschon Johnson, the fact that it's crowded, they've just a ton of mouths in that offense to feed, and between that and health issues, I wouldn't want to buy Swift at price.
Oh, and by the way, not just the crowded backfield, but a crowded passing. Part of Swift's value is his role in the passing game. But when we have Caleb Williams, and you can there's DJ Moore, there's Keenan Allen, there's Roma Dunze. Oh, I got 2 good tight ends. I don't know. He makes me super nervous as well. 3 different running backs for the Bears last year saw at least 110 touches. 3 different ones. And I get it. They gave him a lot of money, but it's not like Herbert and Johnson are bad.
No.
They're not. So.
Right. And the investment wasn't. The guarantees just don't roll over with running back contracts like they do at other positions. So a quick mention here. We talked a lot.
How many touchdowns do you think DeAndre Swift gets? You know what I mean? That's the other thing. Yeah. It's just he's not going to be their goal line.
Caleb Williams will steal a few too.
Yeah.
He will steal a few.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.